If I am true and what I hold is absolute, will you stop and listen? If I am down and what I hold is a blessing, will you raise me high? If I am angry and what I hold is forgiveness, will you take my hand? For we all have our imprints that stain the souls around us. So would you colour me with light, or mark me with dread? What will you do when your hands are covered with blue? Hello everyone, this is the Holy Hermit, and I welcome you all to a new video of mine. Today we'll be looking at a new monk build on the lighter side of things. The idea of course is to play well on high monster powers, but just the way this build works, the sheer funness of this build, if that's even a word, will be shown in this video. The reason why this build is so unique, and it can also be applied on higher monster powers. So the build is called Imprints of Fate. Quite an appropriate name when you see what I'm trying to get to later on. The main damage dealing bit of this build comes from Lashing Tail Kick with Hands of Yitar. That said, Monk will be used as a ranged character, a unique idea which most of you have not thought about it up till now. This skill allows Monk to be a ranged character. You can hit enemies from a distance and up close if you wish to do so. You can hit them before they even get close to you. The idea is to deal damage even before they realise, just like a demon hunter or a witch doctor would. You hit them first and you hit them hard. If they try to chase after you, you can wish them good luck, but they'll never get close to you, just by the way this build works. I'll explain the skills one after the other so they'll make a little more sense now as I say them. The first one being Rising Tide. Every time I'm hitting them with a crippling wave, I'm gaining more spirit. Spirit is of course needed to cast Hands of Yitar as a primary damage dealer, so the spirit has to be regenerated at higher rates. And to add spirit regeneration again, we have Infused with Light. We can heal ourselves, all well and good, but with Infused with Light, every time you are casting it, you gain additional spirit, another important aspect of this build. You want to attack me? Fair enough. You want to attack me on higher monster powers? Good luck, because I have Serenity with Reap What Is Sown. After 3 seconds the shield will expire, and whatever damage they cast on me will be reflected back. 30% of that is. I have a high HP. Anyone around me is going to take damage of around 40-45k every time the shield expires. If things are not working out in my favour, I can cast Inner Sanctuary. This time with Sanctified Ground. People will run away from me, but eventually they would want to come back to me, try and attack me. Good luck to them, because the ground's going to be sanctified now. If they enter this area, their movement speed will be slowed. And to add a cherry on the cake really, we also have Mantra of Conviction. We're not using Overall again, but we are using a rune that allows us to slow down enemies even further. So you see, anything and everything I'm doing with this build is slowing down monsters by a lot. But when I am attacking, I have a high enough attack speed, so they can't attack me as often as they would like to, but I can. This is where the damage is coming from. Now the passives also support this idea. I have one with everything, for higher resistances of course, but I am using Seize the Initiative this time. The reason being, if I am on higher monster powers, if I am being surrounded, and my skills are on a cooldown, Seize the Initiative will protect me by giving me extra armor. But the final one is Exalted Soul. I have higher spirit limit, and I also have a tiny amount of spirit regeneration. Every little bit helps, right? This is the build for you, but I'll explain it to you in a little bit more detail now. The way this build works, and how you can use it on higher monster powers. Every time I see an enemy, the first attack I would do, my first move would be to cast Hand of Yitar. When I do hit them, their movement speed is slowed, but if they do manage to catch me, or if there's too many of them, I can always cast Inner Sanctuary. They will run away in fear, and I will continue attacking them with my Hand of Yitar. Monsters get very infuriated. If they had some kind of emotions, I bet they would show us in this video. But I'm afraid they can't. They all just die. They try to hit me, and that's the whole idea of the build. They will try to get close to me, but they will never succeed in hitting me for more than once or twice, because the way this build works, it allows them to be very slow, and it allows me to be very fast, attacking from a distance. So the first integral part, as I explained now, is a combination of Inner Sanctuary with Hands of Yitar. But what if your spirit is low, you're running low on spirit? That's easy then. Use Infused with Light with your Crippling Wave. You times these two together and you can generate spirit very fast. If there's a lot more people around you, this will heal you, and it will also slow them down. You're also gaining spirit in the process. Can't ask for anything more at this moment, right? But when you do get surrounded on higher monster powers, which will happen eventually, you can use Serenity. Serenity will allow you to be invincible for a short amount of time. It will also reflect damage when opponents are hitting you. But the whole idea of this build is again to survive for a few seconds until other cooldowns are available. Also, with the spirit present at your disposal, high amount of spirit that is, Hands of Yitar is always available. You can always zap enemies, and it just doesn't attack a single enemy on its own. It's an area effect, you have to understand that, so people around it will also take damage. There are other builds that I've posted where you have to work hard all the time. You have to move around left and right to do things. This build, as I said earlier, is on the fun side of things. They try to attack you, but it's you this time who's harassing them at all times. They're almost always slowed thanks to your mantra of conviction and the way you use your Hand of Yitar. Every enemy around you is slowed. It takes a while for them to get close to you, and you can quite simply move away from them or push them away within a sanctuary. So they're just struggling around, wandering aimlessly whilst you're hitting them with Hand of Yitar. That's what I think is the funny part of this build. Monsters try to hit you, but they fail every time, and you're just walking casually, being a monk, doing your own thing, killing monsters in the process. So this is the build for you. In the final part of the video, I'll break this build into 3 main stages. First part is damage dealing. It comes from using Rising Tide and Hands of Yitar. When monsters are far away from you, you'd want to hit them with Hand of Yitar. You can also do that when they're close enough, but the sheer funness of this build allows you to hit them at a longer range. When they get close to you, hit them with Rising Tide. This is where the damage comes from. The second part is Spirit Regeneration. You get that from using Infused with Light and timing that with Rising Tide. You're getting extra spirit per second, and if you have any gear that allows you to get more spirit, all well and good. You can kick people for a longer amount of time. This is a spirit regeneration part. Now the final part is consistent DPS, which should not be confused with normal DPS, because these two are very different things. So to get consistent DPS, what I mean by that is you are hitting the monsters at all times, whereas they are wandering aimlessly. You achieve that by using Sanctified Ground and Serenity. You cast Sanctified Ground when monsters are near you. You keep on hitting them as they're running away with your Hand of Yitar. When they are close enough to you, Hand of Yitar is not available. You can use Serenity, cast Serenity, and you're invincible. During that process, you can gain your spirit by quite simply hitting them with Rising Tide. That's the third part of the build. So 3 different aspects of this build that you can use. They all have to be used in tandem, of course. But as I said earlier, the whole idea for this build is for all of you to enjoy it. Give it a go. This is the kind of build that you might have never tried before, and if you have, I do apologize for me assuming that. This build works very well. It's a ranged monk. It's a monk that can harass opponents at longer ranges. Very cleverly done by mixing a few sets of skills. So give it a go. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. This has been the Holy Hermit for you. I hope you enjoyed this video of mine. And before I part ways from you, I would like to mention that I am planning to do live streaming in the very near future. So I'll post a tiny little video later on during this week, or the next week even, telling you when the live stream is going to be. If you can't see me play normally because you're on a different server, then you're most welcome to join the live stream. I'll give you more details when I plan the event. In the meantime, I hope you all have a very nice day ahead. Thanks ever so much for listening. Take care of yourself. I'm out now. Bye.